The 6 common problems after changing the fuel pump and how to fix each one. Ever changed a fuel pump, turned the key with fingers crossed, and the car still won't behave? Maybe it cranks forever, runs rough, smells like gas, or the gauge suddenly lies to you. That sting after an expensive repair is all too common, and it's usually not the new pump's fault. Most post-install problems come down to small details: wiring, seals, line routing, or air in the system. The good news? A calm, systematic check can get you back to a smooth start without tearing everything apart again. And hey, welcome to AutoVFix, where we help you diagnose and fix your car problems in easy-to-follow steps. Today we're walking through the 6 most common issues you'll see after a fuel pump job, why they happen, and the exact steps to fix each one. We'll start with the fastest wins and work toward the deeper checks so you can avoid guesswork and save time. Let's start with the scariest one. The engine cranks, but won't start. In plain terms, the pump isn't getting fuel to the rail at the right pressure, or at all. Before you panic, try a simple prime. Turn the key to on for 3 to 5 seconds without cranking, then off, and repeat that cycle 3 or 4 times. You should hear a short hum from the tank each time as the pump builds pressure. Still nothing. Pop the hood and the fuse panel cover. Swap the fuel pump relay with a matching relay that you know works. Horn or AC is a good donor on many cars. Check the fuel pump fuse for a broken strip or browning. If the relay and fuse are fine, back probe the pump connector while someone cranks. You want to see battery voltage at the positive wire in a solid ground. No power during cranking means you're chasing an upstream issue. Relay control, wiring, an inertia, impact, cutoff that was tripped during the repair, or a security system lockout. Find the inertia switch, often in the trunk or kick panel, and press the reset button firmly. Finally, confirm the lines are not swapped. The high pressure feed and the lower pressure return look similar on many quick connect fittings. If they're reversed or not fully seated, you'll crank forever with no start. Okay, let's say the car now starts but runs weak, hesitates, or stalls. That points to enough to light, not enough to keep up. The classic trap here is a clogged filter or sock that was left old, or got loaded with debris shaken loose during the tank drop. Rust flakes and old seal crumbs are pump killers. The fix is simple and often instant. Replace the main inline fuel filter if your car has one, and make sure the in-tank strainer that came with the new module was actually installed. Next, check for pinched lines. It's very easy to trap a hose between the tank and a crossmember when lifting the tank back into place. Trace the supply line front to back and look for sharp bends or kinks. Then do the test that ends the guessing. Put a fuel pressure gauge on the rail's Schrader valve. Compare key on prime, idle, and a quick snap of the throttle to spec. If pressure drops on rev, you've got a restriction or a weak pump feed. If pressure is high and doesn't respond to vacuum on the regulator, the return is blocked or the regulator is stuck. One more big one: voltage drop. A pump that only sees 10.8 volts at the connector will act weak under load. With the engine running, measure battery positive to the pump's positive pin. You want less than about a half-volt drop. Do the same on the ground side. Clean and tighten grounds if the numbers are ugly. Strong fuel smell or a visible leak after the job. That's a park it now situation. Gasoline finds gaps you didn't even know existed. Start at the top of the tank. Most modules seal to the tank with a fat O-ring and a lock ring. If you reused a flattened old seal or installed the new one dry, it can snag and roll, leaving a gap that weeps. Pop the access cover, often under the rear seat or trunk carpet, and look for dampness or shiny trails. Pull the lock ring, wipe the flange, and install a fresh O-ring with a light wipe of clean oil so it slides instead of tearing. Seat the module squarely, then tighten the ring to spec. Over-tightening can crack the plastic tank lip. Next, inspect every quick connect on the feed, return, and EVIP vapor lines. A connector that didn't click will mist under pressure. While you're there, check the short rubber sections for hairline splits. Older lines can crack when flexed during the job. Hearing a new loud whine from the tank area? A little hum is normal. A siren is not. First check fuel level. In-tank pumps run cooler and quieter when submerged, so running near empty makes them louder. If the noise showed up right after the swap, the module may not be fully locked down, or it's touching the tank wall and transferring vibration. Reseat the assembly and make sure any foam pads or isolators from the kit are in place. Those little cushions matter. If the noise is more of a rattle or buzz that you feel up front near the rail, you might be hearing pressure pulsation in the feed line on certain models. The only cure there is often a revised line with a built-in damper. And yes, some budget pumps just run louder than the original. If everything is installed correctly and voltage is healthy, a higher quality unit may be the only way to quiet it down. What about a check engine light right after the job? The ECU is watching fuel pressure, mixture, and electrical health. Common flags include fuel rail pressure too low, system too lean, or primary pump circuit faults. Don't just clear it and hope. Read the codes, note freeze frame data, and then pair that with a pressure test. If pressure is low, you're back to filter, shock strainer, a pinched line, or voltage drop. If pressure is high, the regulator or return is suspect. For electrical codes, follow the harness from the tank to the body. Wires can get pinched between the tank and the floor, or chafe on edges during reinstall. Make sure the pressure sensor connector, if your car has one, is fully seated. Some newer cars expect a relearn after fuel system parts are changed. A quick routine with a scan tool can reset long-term trims so the ECU doesn't chase its tail with old adaptation data. And then there's the fuel gauge that suddenly lies to you. The sender lives on the same module as the pump, using a float on a skinny metal arm and a tiny resistor strip. It's easy to bend that arm when snaking the module through the tank opening. If it's kinked or stuck against the tank wall, you'll read full forever, or empty forever. Pull the access cover, lift the module just far enough to see the float move, and make sure it swings smoothly from top to bottom. If you have a multimeter, unplug the sender and measure resistance while you move the float by hand. The number should change smoothly through the range your service info calls for. A cracked plastic float can fill with fuel and sink, which looks like an empty tank all the time. Also check the small sender wires in the module. They're delicate and can be pinched under the lock ring if the harness isn't routed right. Quick halftime pit stop. If this walkthrough is already saving you time and stress, tap that like button and subscribe. We drop straightforward, wrench-friendly guides every week to help you avoid comebacks and keep more cash in your pocket. Let's tighten up the process with a clean, step-by-step flow you can use on any no-start or poor run after a pump job. First, listen for the prime. No hum, check the fuse, swap the relay, reset the inertia switch, and confirm power and ground at the pump during cranking. Hear the hum but no start? Prime 3 or 4 times, then check for fuel pressure at the rail. No pressure points to line routing, a slipped quick connect, a pinched hose, or a dead regulator. Weak pressure that sags on throttle says restriction or low voltage. Go straight to the filter, shock strainer, and a voltage drop test. Strong raw fuel smell? Stop. Vent the area, disconnect the battery negative, and fix the seal or line before you do anything else. New whining? Verify the module is seated and cushioned, keep the tank above a quarter, and confirm supply voltage. CEL on, pull codes, pressure test, inspect wiring, and perform any required relearn. Gauge lying? Inspect the float arm for binding and test the sender smoothly through its range. A few pro habits will keep these headaches from showing up at all. Work clean. Rust and dirt are the #1 killers of new pumps. Vacuum the tank opening before you crack it. Always install the new strainer and the main filter. Putting a fresh pump behind a clogged filter is like sprinting with a plastic bag over your face. Use the new O-ring with a light wipe of oil so it doesn't twist. Route the harness and lines exactly like the old ones. A misrouted hose looks fine until the tank is tightened up and it kinks. After the tank is up, do a key on prime and watch the top of the module for seepage before you button up the access cover. And before the first start, cycle the key several times to purge air. You'll save the starter, the battery, and your mood. If you get stuck and the symptoms don't match the basics, the fuel pressure test is your truth meter. Numbers at the rail compared to spec will tell you whether you have an electrical feed issue, a flow restriction, a regulator problem, or a pump that isn't doing what it should. Pair that with a simple voltage drop check, and you'll solve 90% of post-pump headaches without throwing more parts. Quick recap you can screenshot. No start. Prime, power, ground at pump, fuse relay, inertia switch, line routing. Runs but dies. Filter strainer, pinched lines, pressure test, regulator check, voltage drop. Fuel smell. New O-ring with lube, lock ring seated to spec, all quick connects clicked, EVIP lines tight. Loud whine. Module seating and isolators keep fuel above a quarter. Quality pump, pulsation line if applicable. CEL. Pull codes, verify rail pressure, inspect wiring, relearn if required. Bad gauge. Float arm straight and free. Sender resistance changes smoothly. Delicate wires intact. Stick to that order, simple to advanced, and you'll turn a frustrating comeback into a clean fix. If you found this helpful, give the video a thumbs up and share it with someone dealing with a no-start problem right now. And if you want more car advice explained in plain English, don't forget to subscribe to Auto V Fix so you can stay one step ahead of your repairs and keep more money in your pocket. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.